We're here from Deering High School.
We are from Wayfinder Schools in New Gloucester.
Hi, we're sixth graders from Falmouth Middle School.
Recently, there has been a large uptick in harassment.
We identified 3 major problems during our water quality investigation.
The system contributing to animal testing is human consumption.
Our solution, we have typed up a 10-page legislative proposal to amend Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000.
The Solutionary program is an initiative of the Institute for Humane Education to give young people the tools, the skills, and the preparation to be solutionaries able to solve real-world problems through their school curricula.
The main reason I adopted this program in my classroom is the idea that it took things to the next level by going into the action mode.
For me as an educator, my goal for my students is for them to become good global citizens, and I feel like this is a really direct way to help them practice those skills.
Having the stakes be a little bit higher than just presenting to your teacher, which is important, but having a little bit more of a wider audience, a little bit more impact, and the ability to maybe actually make the change and not just making a PowerPoint about something.
And that's our goal, is to make change makers for the future. And I feel like this unit for these 6th graders is going to affect them in lots of parts of their lives now, as well as in the future.
Because it affects everything. The future generation is going to be empowered soon. And if they're not educated and capable, then we're in trouble.
I honestly believe the way that the Solutionary program works and the approach that they take to education, that should be infused into all aspects of the education of their students.
A lot of it is really up to the students, which is really nice for me because it empowers the students to really take the lead and take over.
It allows us to work with real problems in real time.
I feel like I'm actually doing something about it and I can actually help.
It helps me learn more about myself, more about the world.
I like this class because I get to learn more about the world and like what's going around, what's happening around us.
This class feels different from my other classes because it's just a lot more hands-on, and I'm working with a group to solve these problems, and we get to do research, and it's just really fun, and you get to do something that you feel passionate about.
Giving the students power over their own learning so they can choose what they feel most passionately about that and explore that and realize I can actually have an impact on my community and my world in the way that I solve this issue.
So right now we're focusing on being an active bystander, so intervening in a situation where somebody may be being harassed, whether it's in school or outside on the streets. It's cool for us to learn this training and to teach others so that we can get them help.
We're going to be there to help the person that is being harassed. This class has given me the skills and the confidence to do it.
The kids' enthusiasm, the buzz in the room, the conversations that they're having that are really making them more aware of local and global issues. I mean, this is why I went into teaching, and it just feels really meaningful.
Bring the Solutionary program to your school. Do it. It'll make you think, it will make you step out of your comfort zone, and it will open your students' eyes to a whole new way of thinking, and it will empower them.
So on this note of this amazing video, I have the honor to give you a very warm welcome to this webinar brought to you by the Global Teachers Club and the Institute of Humane Education. We're very proud to present these 5 speakers who are going to absolutely blow your socks off. So I want to mention just that the actual group, the team of people who are part of this educating a generation of solutionaries are more than these 5 speakers. The 5 speakers are the representatives of a larger group who have been working very closely with Julie. We've had the good fortune to work very closely with Julie to be able to learn about the solutionary framework and to be able to implement this in our classrooms. So the big team consists not only of Julie, Marcella, Antti, Susanna, and Joanna, but also of Goncha, Hamid, Helen, Stella, Anita, Stefania, and myself. And as you can see from the slide, we're from all over the place, from the USA, from Spain, from Argentina, Indonesia, from Portugal, Poland, Turkey, Indonesia, Nigeria, Italy. So basically, as somebody said in the chat a moment ago, one world. At the end, we'd like to remind you that those of you who are not members can fill in a membership form to the Global Schools Club. And there will also be a form for the members to fill in for the certificate that you'll get after you've taken part in this webinar. So our program today, as you know from our lovely poster, will consist of our 5 speaker interventions, and then we'll have a question and answer session where you'll be able to get your questions answered both by raising your hand or by writing your questions in the chat, and one of our amazing board members here who are on board will be able to make a little recollection of which questions we might be able to answer at the end. So please don't be shy, do ask any questions, and let's start. I'm very honored to present our lovely Julie Meltzer, who, apart from having a PhD, is a self-described pragmatic visionary who is committed to creating schools that truly help students prepare to successfully meet their futures. She's a tireless advocate for literacy, justice, and equity, which she sees as integrally related. Julie supports teachers and administrators to develop collective efficacy to teach their students how to become change makers. Definitely second that. She agrees with Zoe Whale that our best hope for the planet is to educate a generation of solutionaries, and that's why we're all here, to learn about this. After extensive experience in education as a teacher, education faculty member, district administrator, consultant, researcher, program evaluator, and project lead, to her current role as director of K-12 and teacher education of the Institute of Humane Education, Julie is also a published author, very sought after speaker, and an editor reviewer. So obviously, with such a curriculum, she does need to have a little break now and again. And when she's not focused on teaching and learning, she enjoys hiking, dancing, writing poetry, reading international women's and children's literature, traveling and working for social and environmental justice, and meeting up with all of us on this amazing program. So with no further wait, I give you Julie.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Patricia. I really, really appreciate it. And I am very, very honored to be able to have worked with the amazing educators here. I'm looking forward to working with some of the other folks who are joining us. And I just want to bring you greetings from the Executive Director of the Institute for Humane Education, Steve Cochran, and also from Zoe Whale, who is the author and inspiration for much of the Institute's work. I want to share just a little bit about the theory behind the work. And so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. But first, I want to thank the Global Teachers Club for co-hosting this event with us, and just for the honor of getting to know so many wonderful, wonderful teachers around the world. People who are now friends, who were not friends a year ago because I didn't know them. I'd like to also give a shout out to Akash Patel, who is a advisor for the Institute for Humane Education and a friend, and who connected us to the Global Teachers Group so that we could begin this work together. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Whoops, that's not what we want. Here we are. So the Institute for Humane Education is located in the United States, in the state of Maine, but we have team members who are located all over the United States and now all over the world. One of the approaches that we are taking to this work is the to be able to work with groups of educators across countries and locations who are focused on a single approach, like using the SDGs, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, with their students, so that they can then use that as a jumping off point for inquiry to action projects. Another way that we're working with educators in the United States and around the world are state-based and country-based projects. We currently have an active project in Kenya right now with a location-based coach who is amazing. And she cannot come to this presentation because she's kicking off another journey with the Solutionary project with 20 educators in and around Nairobi. And we also have Marcella, who is on this call and will be one of our presenters, who's working with me and a group of educators from all around Argentina. And we would love to expand this way of working as we continue to work with educators around the world. As I mentioned, the inspiration for this work is comes from Zoe Weil and her book, The World Becomes What We Teach, Educating a Generation of Solutionaries. This book is part of the Solutionary Micro-Credential Program. People can get it either in print copy, audio, or electronic. And it has inspired thousands of people around the world to make changes to what they're doing with their students in education. So what is a solutionary? If you keep putting solutionary in your computer enough times, it finally takes it as a word. So a solutionary is a person who identifies inhumane, unjust, and unsustainable systems and develops solutions to those problems that do the most good and least harm for people, animals, and the environment. Or it's a way of solving problems in a strategic, comprehensive approach that doesn't harm one group while helping another. We think of solutionary teaching and learning as a purpose for school, teaching students to become solutionaries, teaching them to conduct inquiry to action projects with curiosity and compassion. And then we also see it as a pedagogy. So it's a step-by-step framework that teachers can use to develop whatever projects make sense for them and for their students, with their students. This is the 4-part framework. I keep saying inquiry to action because in identify, students identify a problem and research it. They further investigate it. They then come up with solutions, and then they implement an actionable part of their plan. I'll go into those 4 stages in a moment. But first, I want to share with you exciting, very preliminary results. We have only heard from 46 students internationally who have done these projects. These are all wrapping up from the first year of the Solutionary STG pilot project. And I'm assuming that we will hear from close to 200 when everyone shares the link with their students, but I just want to share some preliminary results, because if you're wondering how do students feel about this work, this will give you a little bit of an indication. I want you to remember that in this work, students do a lot of types of action. Sometimes they educate others, raising awareness of a problem and what people could do that would really help. Sometimes they contribute to humanitarian and cleanup efforts, providing emergency relief that is absolutely necessary, while also thinking about the deeper causes of the problem and how they might work to actually address those causes to prevent the problem from happening in the first place, not just addressing the way that the problem shows up in their community. Sometimes they do service learning with a partner organization. For example, if they're studying deforestation and there is a partner organization or NGO that is working on reforestation and planting trees, that's a sustainable solution that students might join in with and contribute to. And then they would then do something to publicize why that solution is solutionary, why that is a solution that actually makes a difference. And then there's solutionary work where students actually address root cause or systems change. They actually make a change to what they're doing that makes a change to what happens. And whether that is a collective action or whether that is an individual action, think about it. As you all know, if an individual takes an action and millions of other people take the same action, then we have collective action. Okay. This pilot project that the teachers here are going to talk about, we worked with Global Teachers Club teachers from across 9 countries and across the United States. They all began with the UN SDGs. The students completed all of those types of projects that I just talked about. And there are 14 teachers who will get their Solutionary badge and certificate this month from the Institute for Humane Education. And we will be offering another round of this project. The Institute is committed to doing that. So if people would like to participate after hearing from the teachers who participated this past year, please email me and I will get back to you about the information about when it will start. This is a project that is sponsored by the Institute for Humane Education at no cost to educators, except for the price of the book. So again, I spoke about preliminary answers from students, and I just want you to look at the percentage who answered blue, absolutely, I agree 100%, or red, I agree with this statement. I have developed more compassion and understanding of others' lives and perspectives as a result of doing this project. And isn't that what we're all trying to accomplish as educators? I liked working on a real world problem. And you can see that more than 90% of the students who have answered so far say they absolutely agree or agree. I am a better critical and systems thinker as a result of this project. Again, you can see 85% of the students said that they absolutely agree or agree with that statement. So teaching students how to become much better thinkers and to analyze the relationships between and the causes of problems is a big part of this project. I am better at cooperating with others towards a common goal. And again, you can see more than 87% of the students mentioned that they agree or absolutely agree with this statement. And again, how wonderful is that? That is what we're trying to accomplish as well, helping our students to feel like they can work with others and make a big difference. And one of the things that we all have to work with is that our students are coming into a world with lots of problems. We want them to have agency and to have optimism and to be able to feel that they can take action to make a positive difference. As a result of the projects that they engaged in, 89% said that this was the case for them. So as I mentioned before, there's a 4-part framework. There's specific steps and there are specific materials that all come with the process that you can use however it makes sense in your setting with your students. Phase 1 is to identify a big issue. Many of the teachers in this project started with teaching the UN Sustainable Development Goals, then identifying a local problem to solve and creating a problem statement that's a beginning point and questions to answer to understand that problem better. Then they investigated by talking to stakeholders, investigating impacts and causes, and researching what else has been done to solve this problem. Then they came up with solutions that do the most good and least harm to people, animals, and the environment. They figured out what might be solutionary and what might be feasible, what they had the time to do and the support to do to take action. And then they created an action plan with the help of their teachers. Then they implemented an action, they presented their work, and then they thought about if we had more time, if we had more resources, if somebody else wants to take on this problem, what kind of advice would we give them? Even if you don't participate in the project, you can join us at the humaneeducation.org, which is the Institute for Humane Education's website. You can set up a free account. You will get our blogs, and you can download all kinds of free lesson plans and resources for yourself. That's even if you don't participate in the full Solutionary micro-credential program. And if you are interested, you're on this call and you are interested in finding out more and joining the next cohort, and I know everyone uses WhatsApp, but I need you to email me because I need your email in order to be communicating with you about the specific project and to send you the project agreement. I hear some people speaking in the background, maybe muting so that people can hear the next speaker. I'm going to stop now sharing my screen, and now you'll get to hear what you really came for, which are the stories from the teachers who actually did the work with their projects. So I'm honored to share the program with them. And back to you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's absolutely amazing, this program. We couldn't recommend it more. As part of the group that's been part of it, it is really a change-making framework. Now we're going to go on to see what some teachers have actually been doing with this framework and through this lovely program. We're going to start off with Marcela, who is my fellow colleague on a lot of programs. Love her to bits. Very, very talented educator. Marcela Alejandra Villan, she graduated as a teacher of English in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in 1996. She got a TESOL certification some years later. She is a passionate, and when I say passionate, she is passionate, lifelong learner, and at present she holds several diplomas. A diploma in school management, in neurosciences and leadership, in socio-emotional learning and education technology, in environmental education and global citizenship, and a bachelor's degree in English language. And if you give her about half a year, she'll have another 15 diplomas to add to that. She has worked in the teaching field for more than 30 years, working with all ages and at all levels, and she has prepared a great number of students for all kinds of Cambridge examinations. She's been a London University and Oxford University examiner, and she's also worked extensively and is still working with the Anglia University team. At the moment, she teaches environmental sciences and global perspectives in a bilingual school in Buenos Aires, the city where she also lives. In addition to this extensive curriculum, she's also a teacher trainer. Marcela supports the United Nations 2030 agenda and firmly believes in its inclusion in the classrooms, as I think all of us do. She's been a T4 ambassador for 2 years, and she's also a Teach SDGs ambassador and a United Nations Global Schools advocate and mentee. She works for numerous NGOs, trying to connect with teachers and students around the world to take action towards the Sustainable Development Goals, and is part of this amazing program that Julie was just telling us about with a cohort of teachers in Argentina. So I give you our lovely Marcela.
Okay, hello everyone, how are you? I'm going to share my screen. Well, and of course, I just have to start by saying that it's a great honor to be able to be here with you all, because it's been an honor, and it is an honor to be part of the Institute of Humane Education for Humane Education, which for me has been a great program to take to the classroom. So let me show you my presentation today, and it is Educating My Solutionaries. I started the program last year with Julie, thanks to Akash, who introduced us to Julie, and since then, I've just had a great time working to educate my solutionaries. So, as Patricia has just mentioned, well, this is me. I'm Marcela Villan. I'm a global educator. I'm an environmental educator. That is what I specialize in. I am a GTC, Global Teachers Club board member. I'm a Teach SDGs ambassador and a global schools advocate, belonging to numerous organizations around the world, working for the betterment of education around the world. This is my school. I work at Modern School. This is in Lanús, Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is where I am at the moment. It's a bilingual school. This is just the hall of entrance that has the 3 levels of education. When I say bilingual, of course, we speak Spanish here, but my students learn English, and they reach a very good level of English by the time they finish their secondary education. As I was just saying, it has the 3 levels of education, that is to say, the kindergarten or the lower levels of education, primary and secondary, finishing secondary education by the age of 17, 18 years old. The school has got around 1,500 students altogether. This is what you can see on the floor here is just the logo of the school, right? Whose motto is knowledge is freedom, right? Getting the more you know, that the better it's for you to become free. Okay, your knowledge makes you free, and that is what I agree with. So these are my solutionaries, right? This is one of the groups. There were two groups like this. This is one of the groups with whom I implemented the project, right? They are students in the, well, last year when we started, it was the 5th year of their secondary education. Now they are finishing this year. You know that our academic year in Buenos Aires, Argentina starts in March and finishes in December. So I started the program last year with Julie towards the end of our academic year. It was after the winter holidays, let's say August, September. And of course, I finished it at the beginning of this year. So they are just finishing really Solutionaries. Well, as Patricia mentioned, I am a Teachers DG's ambassador. I've been working with the Sustainable Development Goals since the year 2016, 2017, just when they were created in the year 2015. So after that, I just started working with this perfect framework in my classes. I do believe that they are the perfect framework to include global citizenship education in the lessons. And with the Solutionary framework, it's a perfect tool to make your students take action towards these sustainable development goals, this United Nations 2030 agenda that we need to complete by the year 2030. So my students, they were in the 5th year when we started, as I was telling you. We have 6 years in the secondary education, 2 groups of 30 students each. And what I did, how I started working with this project is through project-based learning. I divided these 60 students into groups of 5 or 6, and we all decided to work on Sustainable Development Goal number 12, which is responsible production and consumption. Within this topic, with this goal, there are several targets that you have to accomplish, but it's a goal which is absolutely relatable to lots of different topics. So my students each group chose a different topic to work with. I had students working on sustainable consumption and production of energy, sustainable production and consumption of food, sustainable consumption and production of water, sustainable production and consumption of fashion, of clothes, sustainable production and consumption of e-waste. Okay, so I mean, there were lots of topics that my students were working on. They got very interested, they got really motivated to work on the projects because they chose the topic. And when you give your students voice and choice, right, they really get engaged in what they are doing. The subject that I teach at school, I always say that I am a very lucky teacher because as it is a bilingual school, I've got a space for my own subject, which is global perspectives. So it's very easy for me to implement this kind of project. It's not a language lesson, it's just a global perspectives classroom in which we just devote to this. At school, I teach global perspectives and I teach environmental education, which is another topic that I really love, working towards Sustainable Development Goal number 13. And so this issue that I worked with in global perspective was connected with another subject that they have at the same level, which is citizenship, right? We call it politics and citizenship here in Argentina. So I worked with this teacher at the same time. I was dealing with all the global perspective, and the politics and citizenship teacher was dealing with the sustainable development goals at an Argentinian level. Well, how did it all begin? As I was telling you a few minutes ago, I started working on project-based learning. This project-based learning, of course, starts with a leading question, a guiding question, or a guiding topic. My students had already chosen a topic each, so I just gave them a guiding question, that is to say, a question that could guide them throughout the project to get their final product and become solutionaries. In some cases, the question started with how far do you think that this problem can be solved, right? Or in some cases, it started with to what extent do you believe that we can work towards this issue? So they had to start working, right? First of all, getting not global perspectives on the issue, that is to say, trying to see what happens around the world with the issue that they had chosen, with the topic that they had chosen, what had been done, let's say, around the world in connection with the topic they had chosen. Then we went to the national perspectives, trying to find out what people were doing in Argentina towards the issue and what was really happening with the issue in Argentina, how far we were dealing with the issue. I'm sorry, but I have WhatsApp web in my computer. Can you hear the sound when message enters? Okay, Julie, thank you. I can see your face here. And then, of course, after working on the national perspectives, we went on to the local perspectives. That is to say, what was happening around them, right? What was happening in our local areas? Because as I always say, working on these kind of frameworks, okay, helps you to work locally. And by working locally, we can act globally, right? Okay, because we can help the world in that way. So after seeing what was happening around them and what needs we had in our area, they implemented some courses of action. That is to say, what we needed to do towards that. Of course, all this was done through all the material that the framework, the Solutionaries framework gave us, right, and showed us, in which we tried to work on the different kinds of thinking, critical thinking, right, systems thinking. And here you can see some wonderful tools that I used, for example, the Sustainability Compass, joining the 4 points of the compass, that is to say, nature, economy, the parts of the social aspect, and the well-being aspect, right? The iceberg model, which helped us a lot to connect all these different points that I was mentioning, because they have to understand, our students have to understand that we are part of systems and that all these systems are interconnected, and that by working on one part of these systems, we are helping all the other systems as well. And that the topic that they had chosen, they had to understand that this topic that they had chosen was connected with all the other systems, or was influencing all the other systems as well. So critical thinking, systems thinking, strategic thinking, looking for the strategies, right, that they could apply. And of course, the creative thinking when they tried to implement the project. Well, there you could see my students presenting, right? Okay, that their conclusions, right? Their global perspectives, right? They really enjoyed the project a lot. Okay, different groups, okay, but different topics, but they enjoyed it a lot. After that, right? Okay, we also had some connections with people abroad. Well, I've got some friends here who helped me with that. We had an interesting debate with people in Indonesia, right? Thanks to Joanna, who is also here, and Auntie, okay, about responsible consumption and production, getting to know the others' ideas about the topic, what other people were thinking about this responsible production and consumption, and how they were helping the world somehow. We started getting connected with experts around the world about the different issues that they were dealing with. The project took a long time, but it was really so positive, so positive. Of course, one of the big things that we have is that technology helps us, and we can get connected virtually with people all over the world. So this is really wonderful. We can open our classrooms doors and get to other people around the world, right? For example, the people that were working with plastic got connected with an organization here in Argentina, which is called Llena una botellita de amor, fill a bottle with love, okay? And it's connected with the reduction of single-use plastics, right? Like preparing this kind of eco bricks that you can see here, right? Then they took these eco bricks to this organization to be able to, let's say, recycle them. We got connected with a person who is connected with the food industry that gave them some ideas on what to do with the food that we have in our lunchroom that we don't eat, that what the students don't eat anymore, right at the end of the day, right? Different stakeholders that could help them, right, implement these projects that they were going to think about. So finally, we reached the solution. They had to think of the solution, this creative part in which they had to see what they could do for our world, for our local area, but helping the world at the same time. Act locally to help globally. And one of the groups came with a wonderful idea. I had lots of ideas. The eco bricks, I had different because they were working on different issues. But this one was really amazing because all the community participated in an amazing way. So as I was saying, this wonderful project consisted in, well, my students got together with stakeholders. In this case, it was an organization that helps poor people in our country. Argentina is a developing country, so this is a very serious issue. And well, in this case, as winter is approaching now, they decided to collect clothes, right, for these people in need, right, and for the, let's say, warm clothes for these people in need. So they decided to collect, for example, sweatshirts, or they decided to collect jackets, or they decided to collect T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, and some sort of cushions and some sort of, let's say, things that they can take to this organization and help this organization with. And it was absolutely amazing because they started promoting this campaign in all the school. So all the students participated, little kids, primary level, secondary level. We got to collect a lot. All the community helped, all the parents started helping on this activity. And in this case, they were helping their project on sustainable number 12, sustainable responsible production and consumption, with the idea of recycling the clothes that you don't wear anymore. And here you can see the result. My students collecting the clothes and my students taking the clothes to this wonderful organization. In this case, we were doing service learning. We were helping others through this amazing organization. For us, it was innovative because this kind of project had never been done at school before. And it was amazing because really all the community helped, and we really developed a great project for all the school, for all the children in the school. So what my students learned through this project from this wonderful solutionary program, they learned to be active and take action. They learned that by taking action, they can help the world. They developed a greater sense of empathy towards others. They became responsible for their own project. They improved their thinking skills. They improved their collaboration skills, of course. They improved their language skills, right? And they worked better for the 21st century skills that they so much need to be able to survive in this world. So thank you very much. I hope that you have liked my presentation. Yes, and I was extremely happy by the end of this project because I had really made solutionaries out of my students. Thank you. Patricia, it's all over to you.
Thank you, Marcela. Amazing, amazing work. We're so privileged to have such amazing educators on board here in the Global Teachers Club. And
we all are. We are a group of great experts here.
Absolutely. And the Institute of Humane Education as well. There's some amazing people around. You're going to be absolutely amazed and in awe of all these amazing projects. So we're going to continue, but thank you very much, Marcela. That was very interesting. Some really interesting projects that you have been carrying out with your solutionaries, because they're now solutionaries as well. So great. Congratulations, Marcela. We are going to move on. As I told you before, there will be a question and answer session at the end. So, you know, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, then please do make a note of it so you can come back to them in the question and answer session. We're going to continue with another amazing educator called Susana Pineiro. She's from Portugal and has been working in Angola since 2017. She has a specialization in languages, focusing in particular on Portuguese and Spanish, and she's dedicated her 20 years of teaching experience to fostering effective communication and cross-cultural understanding amongst the students. Susanna's true passion lies in social responsibility, firmly believing that education extends far beyond the confines of classroom walls and textbooks. That, I think, is something we all have in common here. For the past 2 years, she's taken on the role of coordinator for CAS, Creativity, Activity and Service, in the International Baccalaureate system at Luanda International School. Through this position, she successfully implemented real-world projects that engage students in meaningful experiences, encouraging personal growth, community involvement, and global awareness, very much like what Marcella's done in her community as well. Today, Susanna will share her journey, highlighting the transformative power of real projects in education. Her aim is to inspire fellow educators to embrace innovative teaching methods that cultivate social responsibility, empower students, and make a lasting impact on their communities. So, Susanna, blow us away. All yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm going to prepare my slideshow. Can you see my slideshow? Is that okay? In your side?
Could you speak slightly louder, Susanna, please, if you don't mind?
Sure. Yeah, it's better now.
Perfect. Thank you.
I just wanted to start thanking the Global Teachers Club for hosting this webinar and say that it's been an honor to present today and share my my projects that I've been doing with my students at Luanda International School. And I hope at the end you find it useful and perhaps you may organize something similar in your contexts. Okay, yeah. As Patricia was saying, so I'm Portuguese, but I'm currently working in Angola. I teach language and literature in the secondary session, and also I took the role of the CAS coordinator 2 years ago. CAS stands for Creativity, Activity and Service, which is a core element for the International Baccalaureate program. And I think that it was when everything started, or at least when I took the opportunity to start develop these projects and trying to make my educational approach more meaningful for my students. I'm also a global schools advocate and mentor, and it was when I met most of the teachers from this group as well, and that's why I'm here, probably because of that connection, and I'm glad to be here. Okay, so I wanted to start sharing this date, which is an important date that represents a shift in the way I started approaching teaching and learning and education in general. So all my experience before 2017 was in a local and traditional educational system. And when I came to Angola and when I started teaching internationally, I found out a totally different system, which is the International Baccalaureate and international system as well. And I start becoming more inquiry, more. I start asking myself lots of questions about my teaching, my experience, my role as teacher. So I started asking this why, the how, and the what we teach. How, why, and how what students learn, and how to make my my approach more meaningful and more authentic to my students. And then with CAS, which I'm focusing my presentation, it will be under this umbrella, and of course under the umbrella of the Institute of Humane Education, because from this combination, I started creating these local projects with my students. So, well, my first question will be, how did we start? in Angola, in Luanda. At the beginning of this year, so my academic year starts in August and finishes in June. So in August, before meeting this amazing group, I started with a CAS retreat. So we took our students from it was a grade 11 students. We took them to Barra do Kwanza, which is a community more or less 2 hours away from Luanda. And the goal was to have students interacting with the community, trying to understand their daily lives, their routines, their issues, their challenges, and then be able to wonder what's their own role in the world and what could they do to change their lives. Of course, it was done in one specific community, but I believe that in the future, these students will recall this experience and approach or have a different thinking about challenges or about the other throughout their lives. So it was a 2-day trip, and students, you can see the full cohort and students interacting with children. And we also had time to come back to a conference room close by to start putting everything together and to start reacting to the issues they found to start creating their solutions. Oh, sorry. Yes. So not talking about any kind of theoretical approach, but I wanted to just acknowledge these two different methods. So I based my project at the beginning in a different framework because I didn't know about the framework that Julie just shared. So in the IB Cascade, from the IB Cascade, I organized the project through the 5 different stages, which is investigation, preparation, action, reflection, and demonstration. And you'll see the different steps later. And for the first step, for the investigation, I based my work with the within the MISO method, which is from the Catherine Berger Kay Associates. And MISO stands for Media, Interviews, Surveys, and Observation. And that's what exactly my students did at the community. So here you can see more pictures about the action research. Students interviewing the teacher at the local teacher at the community, interviewing different women, and they understood, for example, that what they do, what do they live off. For example, they find out that the only way for them to have food and to have money is through fishing. So men, they are all fishers, and the women they sell the fish, and so that's the only way. They don't have any kind of agriculture. They don't have anything like that because of the soil, because this is close to the beach, and this is the only thing they have. And in the third picture, you can see the inside of the school. They have a primary school with 2 classrooms, and they were visiting the school as well. These pictures here, you can see the inside of the school, and I focus on that because one of the projects will be focused on the inside of the school. That's the board, the chalkboard, and the teacher and some kids. And in the last picture, there's something that locally we call casimbas, which is a kind of a well from which water is drawn for cooking and washing. They don't have clean water at that village because it's near the beach, so the water is totally salty. So then when they need to, for them to collect water, clean water, they need to go up in the river and to find clean water to drink. And it's something that they do pretty much every day. So this is the main data collected that we will use for the projects I'm sharing right now. So the main income source is fishing. They have a primary school with 182 children. There's no electricity at school, or there was not electricity at school. One of the villages, because this is a combination of different villages, they don't have power at all. So in this village, we have 23 houses with no power. And we have these 5 casimbas I just shared. And above 12 years old, there are more or less 50 women. And the nearest clinic is about 30 minutes away on foot. So this is the main data. Of course, they understood a lot of different things. They learned a lot of different things, but this data, that's the one that we'll be using for the projects. For the action plan, I share these, I adapt the source from the ManageBack team for them to create an action plan based on a SDG. And you can see the different stages again, the investigation and the planning. For the planning, I wanted to emphasize the definition of a realistic goal, because we are talking about students, children or teenagers. And at this age, we think that we can change the world, we can do everything. But it's important for us to teach them how to be realistic as well, because we cannot do everything in 1 or 2 or 3 months. We needed to find the resources we have, the tools we have, and what can we do, or what could we do to change as within a solutionary framework, something in their lives. So just in the different notes, we did a different project a few years ago within the same community. So students created some bicycles, ambulance bicycles. And when we came back this year, they only had one, because they sell them, or I don't know what they did with them. So we didn't want, what was something that we thought that was solutionary at that time, it was not in the end, because they could sell it. And their challenges are so many that if they can sell something to get money, they will do it. So we needed to rethink when we're doing this kind of projects, if we really want to change lives, we need to think, how can we do that with our project, not promoting different ways to have money, for example, to buy different things. And of course, they created their own SMART goals, and they did a very detailed action plan. And then it was time to take action. Of course, this framework can be a bit different than what Julie shared, but when I joined the group, I was able to bring something new and to combine with my action plan, which is the solutionary iceberg. So we were working on, based on our first findings and our first reflection on a global issue or a local issue, and they needed to start thinking about systems, the systems that Marcela just shared. It could be health or education, economics or media, political, or food or cultural. They needed to find the different systems that influence the issue they chose to work on. And of course, to find and to brainstorm or to explore the deeper causes of the system. They found out. And then these 2 questions are very important that I was not to address. And I started addressing this here from this group, from what I learned from Julie and the group, the Solutionaries group. Who is harmed, who benefits? Because there's always someone who benefits with that. And we need to work on that to prevent and to work backwards to prevent that, not to, as Julie was sharing, not to address the issue, but to prevent that for the future. And this iceberg, of course, is from the How to Be a Solutionary guide that Julie just shared. And here you can see my students brainstorming with the ice within in these icebergs. And it was something new. I also did that with teachers at school, and it worked very well. So it's something that I invite you to explore at your schools as well. And then they come up with these 5 different projects. So this cohort, we split them in groups, and we created these 5 different, they come up with these 5 different projects. The school renovation. So one group wanted to renovate one of the classrooms. They have 2, one of the classrooms, again, to be feasible. The project power was this group wanted to provide electricity to the school. The healthcare workshop, so this group wanted to work on menstrual education for women, for the younger women there, and again, and at the same time, to provide the CPR training because the clinic is too far away. And the 4th group, we work on water filtration method. And the last one they call EduLight was a partnership with Educ Africa. I'll just share with you because it's a very interesting one, and I think you'll like it. Before taking action, they also met some experts from the community, from our school. So it could be among our teachers or among the community. We do have experts in our school, so I decided to use them to provide feedback and to support their projects. And of course, learning from peers, because they also discuss among them and they created new ideas and explored their ideas. And perhaps they found connections as well among their own projects. And it was very useful and meaningful for them as well. But we need something to make it possible. So we start thinking about fundraising or sponsorship, which is always a hard discussion in schools, right? Because we don't have money. We never have money, but things cost things. So they decided to run a concert. They call LIS, because it's one international school, Under the Stars. And they ran this concert at night. They invited a local orchestra, so they also helped the orchestras sharing their work. And they sell tickets. They invited all the community from primary to secondary, and they could bring any guest they wanted to bring. But the most important thing, because of course they sell tickets, but the most important thing was at the end of the concerts, around the area, we had these 5 different stations for the 5 different projects, and students were able to share their projects with the community, with their parents, with different parents, with different guests. And the goal was to find sponsorships, or to raise more funds, or to find people that could help them. For example, the water filtration group. Maybe there is someone in the community that works with a water company, or maybe there's an architect, or maybe there's a nurse that could help them. And it was very useful, and they did an amazing job selling their projects and finding resources, women resources throughout the community. And then time for action. So in May, we went back to the community to take action. Here we can see the work of these 2 different projects. The school renovation, they paint all the 4 walls in a one classroom. They created these amazing posters, educational posters to put on the walls. They clean up all the classroom, and they provide the electricity they didn't have. And in this picture, in the picture in the bottom, you can see the children painting with their hands. So there's local children and I students as well, of course. They painted in the walls with their hands the tree that we can see at the end of at the back of the classroom. And it was very emotional because also the teacher, the local teacher, was crying for happy. Of course, she was super happy because they did an amazing job. And the healthcare workshop, as I said, there's two different topics. We have the menstrual education. So these students were teaching how to use menstrual cups. They brought menstrual cups to offer to the women, and they were teaching them how to use it, how to clean it, and how is this less expensive than using pads, because they can reuse it for 10 years. And in the second half, you can see the students teaching the CPR methods to the community, and it was very useful, and they found it at the end, at least the feedback was amazing. They have training before, and they invited our nurse and from our school to come and to join us. In this group, the water filtration, this group wanted to, in the beginning, they wanted to create a well to collect water, but we couldn't do that. So they created a second plan B, a second plan. So they created some water filtration bottles with plastic bottles, the common bottles we have at home, with sand and charcoal. So resources they have in the community, and so they can redo it as many times as they want to. They teach them how to do it, and they, of course, they left one for each member of the community. But they as they taught them, they can just redo it, because all the resources they have them in the community. And the EduLight project, so if you remember, I told you, I mentioned a village, one of the villages which there is no power at all. So the main idea of the EduLight, in partnership with EduCáfica, which is a NGO in Portugal that works in Africa, they created these lamps, that water lamps. At the beginning, they wanted to create solar lamps, but we were not able to find the solar cells, so they created with batteries. Next time, the goal is to create it with solar cells. So they created this water, again with the water bottle. They put it a liquid, which is water, and a different components that I can recall the name, but I'll find it. And they put it in the water. They put the battery and the cell, and within a tube inside, and they can have light at home. And they taught them how to do it again. The only thing they need to buy are the batteries, because we couldn't find the solar cells, but it's something they can redo again. So they can have lights at their home, and they can replace them because they're portable. And here you see my full cohorts, super happy with their outcomes in the school. And that's the visual thinking routine I chose to the reflection. And next year, at the beginning of next year, because it was just at the end of this academic year, we'll do the demonstration to teachers, to the community, parents, and especially to the new grade 11 students to work as an inspiration. And thank you. Patricia, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susanna. I think it's amazing and really wonderful to see how the framework has been implemented in different parts of the world. Susanna's projects are very inspiring, I find. And I think it's important as well that we stress how well we can integrate the framework into different systems, such as the IB, for example, the CAS activities, and in basically anywhere. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as well. It's very easy to integrate, and it makes your teaching come alive. So just as Marcella was talking about the SDGs being a good beginning of starting to get the students to reflect, the framework then takes them even further, and the importance of reflecting on what we've done and the importance of celebrating that as well is definitely something that we have to keep in mind. No? So thank you so much, Susanna. Absolutely wonderful. Let's move on to our next speaker, who I am proud to say was my mentee on the Global Schools program. So lovely Joanna Zielinska, who's from Poland. She has an MA Masters in English Language, Literature and Linguistics, while she's also a TESOL certified teacher of English. She's a Microsoft certified innovative educator and a global schools advocate, where I had the good fortune to meet her. And in that program, she received the title of the Advocate of the Month in October 2022 for her work and projects. She's also a global schools program coordinator in her school, responsible for introducing the importance of SDGs in today's world to both students and teachers in Poland. She's also an e-twinning coordinator at her high school in Poland, and a project that she carried out this year, A Taste of Culture, received an e-twinning national quality label in 2022. And in June this year, she was awarded the European quality label for this project. So big hand for you. Okay. She loves both learning and teaching languages. And as a teacher of English, she believes learning a language is also learning its speakers' cultures and habits. This is why she organizes numerous international meetings with schools all over the world, and her students have the chance to meet and talk to peers from various parts of the globe. I can tell you, Joanna does not stop. Absolutely wonderful educator, and in the same line as both Susanna and Marcella, you are going to be amazed by these projects. So over to you, Joanna.
Thank you very much for your nice words. And yes, Patricia was my mentor in Global School program, so thank you for that. And if it weren't for some of you, I wouldn't be here. So just a short introduction of myself to those who don't know me. So my name is Joanna Zielińska, and nowadays I am a teacher of English in high school in Poland. And I will try to share the screen now. Just let me know if it is okay. Wait a moment. I need to do it again. One moment, please. Okay, I need this one. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Please let me know.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so let me make it bigger and let me start. So due to the cooperation with the Institute for Humane Education and Julie and Global Teachers Club, together with my students, we came up with the idea of First Aid Solutionary project. It is the first solutionary project I have ever done with my students. So we needed to start with the very essential things, with explaining what SDGs are, why they are so important in today's world, and what it means to be a solutionary. Having done that, we chose the SDGs that we would like to work on, and our choice were SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, and SDG 4, quality education. And then we decided that we would like to concentrate on first aid and the issue why people are so afraid of giving first aid to others. And we did it by means of group and class discussions. You can see my students in the classroom now. So first, the discussions were about the importance of giving first aid, and then the reasons why people are so afraid of giving a first aid to others. Just like Susanna, we also use this iceberg model in our classroom. So we did it in order to analyze the problem, systems, and deeper causes of the systems. And I highly recommend this kind of exercise to be done with students. They really enjoyed it, and they came up with various innovative ideas. So what we did in our school. First, we organized first aid training sessions for our high school students, and these training sessions were conducted by my first aid certified students. And I think it is an important thing to do so, because students can see their peers working and doing things that are really worth being done. So as you can see here, there is a group of students who got first aid certificates this school year, and they were issued by our local branch of Red Cross, and my students had to finish a special first aid training there in order to get them. And these were the students who trained the other peers in our school. Later, we started to cooperate with a nearby Montessori kindergarten. So children aged 5 to 6 came to our classroom. By the way, this is my classroom. This is where I work in with my students and have English classes together. So these little children came to have a lesson about body parts, and I conducted this lesson together with my teenage students from my high school. And I would say it was the most important part of the project for my students, because they themselves could do something. They could teach their younger friends, and I would say they felt really excited about it and proud at the same time that they are able to do it. And then my first 8 certified students went to the kindergarten and showed these little children how to give first aid. So you can see them working with these little children in the pictures. Our school first aid team took part in a regional first aid contest and in our city, and I must say that we won it. So it was really a great experience for my students. And then we participated in a first aid district contest, and we were the winners as well. So I would say that this experience made my students really proud of themselves and made the other students in school appreciate their peers' hard work and all this stuff that we had been doing as far as first aid is concerned. And to make the whole school community involved in this solutionary project, you can see the winners here. And now to make this whole school community involved in this solutionary project, we organized first aid contest here. So everybody could make a poster either about the stages of giving first aid or the importance of giving first aid to people. And the best posters are now put in our school common room, and everybody can see them and see who the winners are. The last stage of our project was to have a training session with a professional paramedic, and this training session was conducted for all teachers and employees in our school. Thus, now I can say that everybody in my school knows how to give first aid to others and why it is so important. Summing up, I want to say that due to this project, my students know the importance of SDGs in their lives and in today's world. I think that they believe more in their abilities to implement, to carry out the ideas and plans, and even those who seem to be impossible to be carried out at first. They understand that their actions do matter in today's world, and they can make others aware of so many important contemporary issues. They have experienced, just like Susanna and Marcela have mentioned, solutionary thinking. So it means that critical, system, strategic, and creative thinkings nowadays are something they know and they implement in our meetings and actions. And I would say this is not that common in schools, at least in Poland. So yes, my students have learned how to give first aid, why it is so important. That is true. But I also believe that I have enabled them to experience one of the best adventures in their students' lives that have made them believe in themselves and their ability to change the world around them. So they are no longer afraid of expressing, sharing, and implementing their ideas and projects. And they want to do more and more, which I love a lot. And okay, you may call me a crazy teacher, but I do think that we should believe in our students. And what is most important about these kinds of projects is to listen to them, because they are really young citizens with so many great ideas, which are worth listening and worth being implemented. So this is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Yeah, I agree. And I think we all agree that it's important to empower our students and make them see that their actions really do matter. That it's not just ticking a box because you need it for a UCAS statement or whatever, that you can make a difference and you can become a change maker now. You don't have to wait until the future. You can do that now. So thank you so much, Joanna. Fascinating projects. Amazing what kids can do. So let's continue with the last speaker, who is our lovely Nurjanti Asisa auntie, who's also the founder of the Global Teachers Club. She's been teaching for more than 20 years and been involved in human resource development programs for both formal and non-formal government or NGO programs. She is the founder of Global Teachers Club, as you know, I just mentioned, as well as the global coordinator for this non-profit teachers organization for teachers around the world in 6 continents. So it's amazing what Auntie is doing. She's also the principal of a private high school, the SMA National KPS. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this properly. Under KPS School Foundation, Sekolah Nasional KPS, Balikpapan, Indonesia. She has achieved and gotten appreciation by world education leaders in exemplary leadership in education as an outstanding teacher for the contribution in the field of education. And it is very much thanks to Auntie that we're all here today. So I give you our lovely Auntie.
Thank you very much, our lovely moderator, Patricia from Spain. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you, and hope that you also can see my screen. Well, thank you very much for this good opportunity, especially to Julie, yeah, is the representative and also representative of IHE, and also she is our teacher, our trainer for the Solutionary program. Okay, first of all, I'm also, as you see that, as the principal of SMA National KPS. It's a new school, which just been 1 year in June, yeah. SMA is a high school, it's a private school under the school foundation as Sekolah Nasional KPS or KPS School Foundation. And this is my title, Educating a Generation of Solutionaries, a story from Balikpapan, Indonesia. So Balikpapan is the city where I live, and Indonesia is our country. I think so far, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think we are representing Asia so far for doing the project. Hopefully, from today, there will be more teachers from Indonesia who would like to involve in this project together with other teachers from other country. Okay, let me start. First of all, let me introduce the school. This is the front part of our school. As I told you, this is a new school. We have the first batch with only 38 students. They are very lovely. They are very energetic and also curious to do a lot of things together with me and our teachers. Oh yeah, with us here, I have some friends. Yeah, our collaborator. Later, you can see the picture on the screen. Yeah. What we have learned solutionary lessons from Institute for Human Education. We learn a book, The World Becomes What We Teach, and apply it to be a solutionary. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity. What we have learned 4 kinds of solutionary thinking: critical thinking, system thinking, strategic thinking, and creative thinking. We also learn specifically to learn the solutionary lessons using the materials. We have the website with our names. It's so pride for us to be included. The solutionary framework consists of 4 steps: identify, investigate, innovate, and implement. As my collaborators later, I will explain. This is the step that we learned. At the time, I did a presentation of a plan from me. And then my collaborator, Anita Lela Tunikma, one of my colleagues, she's teaching geography. And this is the presentation of the plan. And this one is the presentation of a plan from my colleague also, Mr. Hamid, and he is here right now with us. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Mr. Hamid.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you very much. And from our discussion, then we choose SDGs number 15, Life on Land. Yeah, the focus is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and help and reverse land degradation and help loss of biological wealth. Now, as what we have learned, we start from the first step, that is identify. Yeah. So actually we have 3 groups, yeah, because this is not only me as a teacher, but as the principal, I involve the whole team, especially my colleagues and also other team members. Yeah, then this is a picture when we learned the solutionary lessons. And the second step is identify. We try to identify the issue. Yeah, as we have known that our school is located in Balikpapan, especially in Kalimantan. We know that it's a place for a big forest. Yeah, and we have known that this is a picture of the forest in the world right now. From this, we also can see how then the forests are getting denuded. And that's why from the issue that we identify, we continue to investigate by inviting our partner or stakeholder from botanical garden team that we invited to go to our school and to share all the things related to the botanical garden. And we found that many interesting things, that there are so many almost extinct plants that are very good, and then they are very meaningful, especially related to medicine or something like that. Okay, so we had a kind of introduction and also the lesson from the botanical garden team to explain about how we are very lucky to live in the surrounding, and the students have to know all the things related to their surrounding. We opened their mind, and then after that, we found that it's not only need to invite the botanical garden, but we invite the team to have MOU signing. The next step, we did an innovation. Yeah, this is one of the teacher that becomes my collaborator. Yes, to innovate the program, we have got the name of the project, that is SMA National KPS, that is our name for the high school, as Phytochemistry Lab School of Balikpapan Botanical Garden. We have some steps that are cultivate compassion and learn solutionary lessons, invite botanical garden team to school to learn issues in SDG number 15, identify specific problems and causes in SDG number 15, separate students into 3 groups, language, science, and geography, and make a timeline and split the tasks based on 3 groups. The first project, so because it's a kind of, as the name, sustainable program, so we do not stop only at this point. It's going to be sustainable. The first project was exploration in Balikpapan Botanical Garden. And the second project is reintroduce 100 seeds of a rare plant or endemic to keep the variant. And project 3 is to learn and practice phytochemistry process. And project 4 that we are going to continue after this term, is educate and promote the conservation of rare plants using book in international language. And the last for the step is international webinar to educate other students about rare plants in Balikpapan Botanical Garden and phytochemistry process. The official announcement as Phytochemistry Lab School of Balikpapan Botanical Garden will be held in July, inshallah. Okay. So the next step is the implementation. After we identify the issue, we get the investigation from the stakeholder, we plan to innovate, to have the innovation, then we implement the program. Okay. In this group, we have Hamid or Mr. Hamid as our science teacher. So there are 3 of us as the collaborators, language teacher, geography teacher, as well as science teacher. Yeah, not to mention other team in our school. Okay, and this is a time for us to do the real things in the real world, to go to the field. Okay, so this is a time for us at a time to do the exploration to the botanical garden. Even you can look that on the other side, on the right picture is our head of foundation. He came there to support us. Yeah, with us here, Pak Rauh, he also support us with our activity. So the whole team of the school, even the school foundation support. So we went to the botanical garden of Balikpapan. Okay, the students learn how to do the exploration. They did not only learn the theory, but they really went to the place to learn all the equipment, all the things they had to know, what to do and what is the things that not to be allowed. Okay, they learn the tools. And then finally, you can see that they went to the forest. We are lucky that we are close to the forest. They had to know that they are among those things and they have to be close and they have to know and take care of it. Yeah, they went to the forest inside with all the teachers and the students. We did a very nice experience, not only to learn from the theory, but we did it learning by doing. Okay, we continue not only to do the exploration, we got 100 seeds of rare plants. The name is Bengaris, and we did the introduction, reintroduction, and we put in a special place to plant it, to take care of it, to have a good seed, to prepare it to be healthy, and then later we are going to go back to return them, to return the seeds to the real place. That's why we involve our geography teacher as well as chemistry teacher. Chemistry teacher as well as science teacher to help us from their background, to help us from their experience and their knowledge. This is the picture of the introductory of the plants or the seeds. After that, they also learn herbarium. They learn how to identify the plants. They don't only have to know by going to the area of the forest, but they can learn how to identify. Even we help them to learn later to be a scientist, to get the new species or variant from the forest. This is the herbarium process. Okay, and the next step after the exploration is we continue to have a workshop of phytochemistry. Yeah, why we have to know this kind of process? Because we don't want to stop only by doing the exploration. We want the students to be the real scientists, to take care of the plants. That's why we make our school as a lab school. The lab school of phytochemistry, that is a process of to know, identify the plant who has the ingredient that can be proceeded into as a medicine or not. And we know that the materials of the ingredients are found in our forest in Kalimantan, especially in our place in Balikpapan. So we did not only learn from our teacher, that is chemistry teacher on the lab, that is Pak Barawi and Pak Hamid as the physics teacher, but we invited, and until now, we are cooperating with the University of Erlangga. He is the researcher or like the lecturer of Department of Chemistry in the Faculty of Science, Technology of University of Erlangga. So he helped the students to do the process of phytochemistry, that is to check the ingredient of the plant to know whether the plant it can be proceeded to be medicine. This is the process. This is another process, and the students did an experience by themselves. Yeah, and it's not stopped under that one. The interesting thing from doing the solutionary project, actually it is also in line with Indonesian curriculum. This is a new curriculum in Indonesia. And one of the new characteristic is the school needs to do 3 kinds of project. That's why we are very happy to apply the curriculum with the project in line with the solutionary program. We give the students a time to do the project with our project coordinator, Miss Rina. She is our biology teacher. So I tried to involve the whole team of my school that cannot be mentioned here one by one. Okay, another interesting thing that we have, as we use the official program of our Indonesian curriculum, our Indonesian curriculum provide official project report. So we apply that. Like as you see here, yeah, let me circle that. Phytochemistry Lab School of Balikpapan Botanical Garden. So you can see that the students cut the report. Here, there's a checklist whether they are starting to grow or still growing, or that has achieved the performance to grow and they grow very well. Okay, the next plan that we are going to start after the semester break, yeah, is doing the campaigns with developing book or journal to do the conservation, to educate people about our forest, our exploration, our experience, as well as the phytochemistry process in our school. So we do not only stop on this, it's going to be a real lab school. Not only with the plan, we are planning to go to the sea because we are near the beach. We are trying to explore everything around us. Then very happy that the students do it as a solutionary. Okay, thank you very much. Now I return to Patricia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Auntie. We've had some really varied projects here, going from Marcela with her focus on the SDG number 12, and the clothes project, going through Susanna's different projects, and in particular the Eco Lamps project and awareness about the menstrual health. Joanna's project on first day that had the impact on the entire school. Auntie's projects on the seeds that are making her students into little scientists and even learning about medicine, and that's very important as well for the STEM activities. And there are so many amazing educators around the world that need to take part of this solutionary framework and this solutionary project, because students need this framework to be able to work efficiently. And even though you can then fit it into, as Auntie was just saying, your national curriculum, which is really wonderful that some countries have that foreseeing and visionary way of seeing that their national curriculums are going to make students into solutionaries as well. So this is wonderful. We actually have on board another lovely educator whose name is Helen Umbiuri. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that very well. So after our question and answer session, let's see if Helen wants to share a little bit about some of her projects in Nigeria, very briefly, not in the same way as the other speakers we've had today, but just because she's working in some circumstances that are slightly different from the rest, and I think that could be very interesting as well. So let's open up the question and answer session. So if you want to have any of your questions answered by any of the speakers, then please either raise your hand or you can write the question in the chat. Is anybody interested in having some more information? If anybody sees a hand go up, please let me know. Don't be shy. Is anybody wanting to ask a question? Wow, we do have extremely amazing teachers here who do not need to ask any questions at all. To Julie, perhaps?
I just want Muhammad Zuber is raising his hand, and Ayub Goga honor.
Yes, good day to everyone here on the platform. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, please, I will excuse my camera to be off, please, because I'm not in a good background here. My name is Onu Aigoga, and I'm so delighted to see these wonderful projects being shared, especially from our Global Schools colleagues. I myself am a Global School advocate, and I'm so delighted to see impactful projects being shared on this meeting, especially this last one, which I can see linkages between curriculum standards, research experts, and then student involvement too at the school level. So such wonderful outcomes are really expected when teachers innovate that way. My question is how is this kind of practice whereby you link research, curriculum, and student engagement, that is at the school level, how is this practice scaled up within your educational district or setting? Is this something that, because I see you are a school principal, this question is directed to the last presenter. You're a school principal, and I believe you're in the leadership position, but how do you see other schools around the district implementing this approach? Is it a district, a whole district project, or it's limited to particular schools who want to take up this kind of practice? And if that is the case, is there any link, web link that one could go to see more about this kind of practice in your district? Thank you.
So the question goes to you, Auntie.
Well, thank you very much. Then I can start to answer. Thank you very much, Oigo Ano, for your response with our school. Especially thank to Julie for the lesson of solutionary. Yeah, the first thing we learned the solutionary framework. That is the most important thing. The second is this is what happened in Indonesia. We have just applied a new curriculum that each school has to apply a project for the school, the whole school. So for the first grade, for example, in high school, there are 3 kinds of projects. So one of the project is applying the solutionary program. Of course, it's not the solutionary is separated from the national curriculum, but we apply the solutionary program to complete our national curriculum. As the project for the national curriculum give us an opportunity to take any issue around us. Yeah, it's in line, and we are very lucky because we learn the system of the solutionary framework that is find the issue and then investigate, try to innovate and implement the 4 steps. And how then we connect? It's not only because I'm the principal. I think if you would like to open your mind and then you can see around you, you just need to contact the stakeholder here, because we try to communicate to find the partner. So they are very happy to support us. So I contact the Botanical Garden of Balikpapan. Yeah. And the second is the research center from University of Erlangga. And the researcher that we use as our consultant is Mr. Rico Ramadan. So if you would like to know more about our program, then we are going to have the webinar. We would like, of course, it's the continued program of this. We are going to educate. We are going to share more about our experience in our journal, international journal, as well as international webinar. And I think Julie would like to help us also to connect to the world. Yeah, to link us not only with Indonesian level, but to the world. Yeah, you can get more information later from Julie. So if you would like to do the same thing like us, please join us, and you can come to our school if you would like to visit our school in Indonesia, or we can have a kind of Zoom meeting like this, and you also can contact Julie for the cooperation. Thank you very much.
So we have another question from Mohammed Subari from India. Would you like to pose your question?
Am I audible? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, yes.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you for such a great event and program. And I have some questions. And actually, I want to ask. Actually, I'm Mohammed Zubair, Assistant Professor of Special Education, Learning Disabilities in the Central University here in New Delhi, Jamia Millia Islamia. I teach bachelor's and master degree students, where we train teachers. After completing their graduation or masters, they are getting training how to deal with the students. So I'm teaching them education psychology and special education. So as you all know, that the convention, UNCRPD, if you heard about that, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and its optional protocol was adopted by 13 December 2006 at the United Nations headquarters in New York. And there were 82 signatories countries to the conventions, and they all were instructing that we have to give inclusive setup to our students in our countries. Specifically, for example, in my country, in India, lots of diversity in the class, different kind of students are sitting together in inclusive setup, and we have to give them need-based education. But for example, here, Right of Person with Disability Act 2016 says 21 disabilities are there. Previously, it was 7, then 21 now. So in different countries, scenario may be different. So how you all are working with the rights of special kids? Because it's very easy to say that we can sit together in the same classroom in inclusive setup and they all are equal. For example, inclusive education is talking about all children can learn together, acceptance of all people regardless of their differences. Inclusion can also allow us people to value the differences in each other by appreciating that each person is unique in his ability and capability. But the reality is that on the ground level, uh, it is very challenging. The diversity is there, the attitudinal barriers are there, the infrastructure barriers are there, and lots of no acceptance in the society. Sensitization is required, specifically in African countries or in Asian countries. Here in India, in the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So people are facing too much discrimination when we talk about an inclusive setup. So how you all are working on such kids? Because it is very essential, because early identification is important, acceptance is important, accessibility is important, sensitization and awareness is important, and we have to make them independent in the society, and we have to provide them need-based education, and lots of adaptations, modifications and accommodations required by the teachers in the teaching learning process. So we have to prepare multidisciplinary team in the school, special educator, guidance counselor, special educator, music teacher, games teacher, occupational therapists, physiotherapists. So how you all are working with such kids, and what's your plan?
Are you posing this question to anybody in particular?
No, anybody can ask, anybody can reply, if anybody can respond. For example, Auntie Aziza or anybody else, Suzanne, and anybody else.
Great. Julie has just mentioned in the chat that in the United States, there are many places where students with special needs are participating in solutionary projects. And I personally would also like to add that it could also be the basis of an amazing project in a school to work on that very question, on how to include
children with special needs,
types of children, all types of children with special needs, children with different necessities.
Who would like to take orphans?
Yes, exactly. Who would like to take the question from our lovely speakers? Marcela, perhaps, do you know how you're working in Argentina with this situation? Susana, Joanna, since we have different, all the speakers come from like very different places in the world, and as you mentioned as well, Mohammed, the laws about and the rules and the acts about special educational needs are different in all countries. So unfortunately, they are different. So it will probably be a very different picture depending on where you are. Does anybody want to answer? Joanna?
Well, I think that my school is totally from a different background than Mr. Mohammed's school, but it is not easy to convince people to participate. That's true, but the more you try, the more people join you, and it also depends on the student that you have. But I don't mean whether they are very intelligent ones or not. This must be students who really want to do something additional, yes, because I'm a teacher of English, and it was not easy to implement first aid solutionary project during my lessons. So all we did, or almost all we did, it was extra classes. So I think it's about the teacher being convincing and the students being willing to participate in some additional projects. Thank you.
For example, you know, in a diverse classroom, if learning disabled student is there, they have dyslexia, they have dyscalculia, dysgraphia, they have different problems. On the other hand, autism child have social emotional problem. They are very introvert in nature. On the other hand, HI student, hearing impairment, he needs to learn sign language. On the other hand, visual impairment children and the low vision is there. Cerebral palsy students are there. Orphans are there. Students from different tribes are there. So how a teacher can manage all these things simultaneously? We need multidisciplinary staff. Not a single teacher handle this.
I agree, and I think it is such an important area to focus on that, in fact, I think we should probably discuss having a webinar that focuses on this area, because it could be a very interesting area to focus on for a lot of people. So I think it's the time we have right now to be able to really address this issue is not large enough for the issue. The issue is too important to be discussed in only a couple of minutes, I think. So perhaps it can be something that we can take on board in both the Institute of Humane Education and the Global Teachers Club to address a bit more profoundly. Yeah. Okay, I think it's we've got another question. So Mohammed, let's see if we can come back to your question in a more profound way, because it's a very important one. Okay.
Sure.
Glenda, I think we have a question from you.
Yes, hi. Actually, it's not a question. It's just something that I wanted to share. But I have experience with my students that the best way to get them interested in any kind of project is by offering them like the big idea and then letting them go to the specific topics of what do they want to learn about that big idea. So I actually tell my students that they are going to be deciding or choosing exactly what they want to learn, but about this big topic. And it really has worked for me. And they think that they are free and they have all the choices, but really like in the back, I am pulling the strings, so it is working out for the students and I to work on projects like this. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Very important to keep in mind the basis of project-based learning as well, of having the students feel that they are involved and having choice, even though we might be frameworking them a little bit more than they think that we are. And here again, the solutionary framework, it's a great way to use to be able to get the students to actually take control of their learning at the same time, while keeping to a certain line that we want them to go in. So thank you very much for that question, Glenda. Okay, do we have any more questions before we continue to our Global Teachers Club's representative? We are sorry to say that Helen Umbieri can't be present right now, because she's actually, she's here and somewhere else at the same time. So another day, it would be great to hear from some more people who are part of this this project to share some more information. I hear that I think Vilma wants to ask a question from Brazil. Go ahead, Vilma.
Hello, everyone. In fact, it's not a question. It is a comment related to what Joanna said, that to motivate our students to do different kinds of activities, first of all, we teachers have to be so motivated. I can see, because I've been working on many different kinds of projects, that when the students see that the teacher is excited about the idea, they can see our eyes shining and that we are willing to take part on something in a different way, they will be engaged as well. So I truly believe that if the teacher is engaged, if the teacher is showing them that the teacher likes what he is doing or she is doing, the teachers will be engaged as well. So we as teachers, we can do anything if we are motivated to, and for sure our students will be there willing to do the same, and they will be participating in anything that we would like they take part in. Just showing that we, first of all, we are interested and we are excited about that.
That is so true. That is so true, Vilma. We need to definitely transmit excitement, because otherwise we're not going to get anyone on board to do anything at all. So that is really, really an important thing to keep in mind. And thank you for reminding us of that, Vilma. I think that also leads us to the importance of having the leadership teams on board. And like Antti, for example, a principal of her school, being so committed to these projects. At times we don't have that good fortune in some of the schools where perhaps the leadership teams aren't as part of our enthusiasm for these projects. But I think we need to keep working on it because it's definitely worth it. And it's a lot easier than they think quite often. So, you know, this is why we're here. And that's why we need to get the Global Teachers Club to grow and to get everyone on board on the solutionary framework and on this type of work as well. So that's really important to keep in mind. Right, I think because time is becoming a little bit late in some countries, we should perhaps move on to our lovely Gonca from Turkey, who is today's Global Teachers Club's representative and who will be delivering the Global Teachers Club representative remark. So over to you, Gonca.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm so impressed with this amazing session. I'm really happy that I'm a part of this project. Unfortunately, I've been in the project, but I couldn't do anything like my colleagues do. I'm so proud all of you did amazing works and you made a big change in your community, in your school and all around the world. As Global Teachers Club, we are so proud and happy to have collaborated with Humane Education. I would like to extend my special thanks to Mr. Akash Patel, who invited us to this great pilot project. Unfortunately, he's not here, but he sent all of us his greetings. He's not here because his cousin is getting married and he is in a wedding ceremony. But he congratulated us for this amazing project. And of course, to Julie for reaching out to us and giving the Global Teachers Club for this amazing opportunity and honor to work and cooperate. We are glad that we have been doing the pilot project along with Humane Education. I would like, and it is my pleasure to thank each one of the teachers in this pilot project of SDGs who put so much effort, hard work, with their students to become a part of solutions of the real world problems, such as from racism, gender equality, child labor to climate change, from production, consumption to health, hunger, quality education, and many more issues which are all connected. I also thank to these amazing teachers who dedicate themselves to educate a generation of solutionaries who empower their students to be a change maker, to impact, to make a big difference, not only in their schools, but also in their communities. And finally, I would like to thank all the teachers here who are with us to contribute to citizenship, global citizenship for a better world. And I don't want to take your more time because it's already over 2 hours and you have been with us with a great patience, but I'm sure you were impressed with the presentations. So I learned a lot from my colleagues and I'm really jealous, to be honest. We do hope to involve more teachers in Global Teachers Club to bring solutionary programs in their schools. We invite more teachers to take action, act locally, think globally. That's all from me, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gonca. Those
You're
were wonderful
welcome.
words.
Thank you.
And they definitely sum up what we all think. You know, I think and believe that the best way to close this wonderful session is to give Julie the last word and see if there's anything that she wants to add to everything that's been said. So Julie, my dear, it's thanks to you as well that we have these projects. So it's all yours.
Thank you so much. I don't want to keep people, but I just want to say again how honored the Institute for Humane Education is to work with the Global Teachers Club on this project and to be able to offer another round of the project with any international educators who would like to participate. So we will be able to have 12 to 15 people participate, and please, I've put it in the chat, but I'll do it again. My email is julie@humaneeducation.org. Please email me with your name, your school and country and who you teach what to where. And I will be in touch with you about when the project will be starting and what will be involved. We set up an electronic board that you get access to all the resources, and we have ongoing Zoom meetings to support you. And one of my colleagues will be facilitating the next round, and people will love working with her. I do also want to just mention that if you go to our website, which is www.humaneeducation.org, and set up a free account, you have access to many, many free materials that you can bring to your students. And again, I just want to thank all of the amazing educators who participated in the pilot project, and with express thanks to my co-presenters who shared their wonderful work with their students today. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. I think this wraps up our little session for today. If anybody wants more information, please do contact any of the board members on the Global Teachers Club, or Julie directly if you're interested as well in any of the projects or whatever, and we're here to help you. Please don't forget to fill in the form if you're a new member, or fill in the other form if you want your certificate. So please don't forget that. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and thank you so much for all the amazing projects that we've taken part of, and we hope to see you soon again. Does anybody from the board want to say a final goodbye?
That's enough. Thank you. Bye.
Amazing session, my friends. Amazing sessions. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Bye-bye. Take care. See you
Thank
soon.
you,
Thank you, Patricia.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Julie.
Bye-bye. It was great as always.
Great having you, Vilma.